predicting head coaching vacancies.
Yes.
First up, the New York Jets.
I have you guys actually signing Rex Ryan back.
I do too.
Oh, really? Nice.
I have you guys
What I
taking
want the
Mike
Jets to do
Vrabel.
versus what I think they'll do. Rex Ryan.
But you don't want that?
I'm 50-50 on it.
I think Rex, you get a level of intensity. You get what you guys have been looking for as a strong locker room presence, but really, what's the word I'm looking for?
He has great veneers.
That's
He does have great
you could
veneers.
argue too great. Like
They still have Sanchez tied on him. Didn't he have Sanchez? Right?
If he does, that's awesome.
he's hilarious for that. But you need a culture setter, and I think Rex can bring that back to you guys. You need someone that's going to bring discipline back to the New York Jets.
The best Jets years of my life have been with Rex Ryan.
No doubt.
You
So
know,
I
I'm not bitter over it.
I think I'll go with Mike Vrabel because I think he kind of brings that sense of toughness and mentality to the program. And I said program like we're in college.
That's fine.
To the building. But I do think you guys hire a really good OC in DC. Like I think Vrabel is going to be very adamant on getting somebody who can really fix the offense and really help the defense get back to what it was. But I do think Vrabel is the kind of tough, gritty coach that you guys can use. I think Rex Ryan is in the same process as that too. But you guys honestly, like, excuse my language, you don't need no bitch. Like you need a real nigga in there. Like you need somebody that's sturdy, somebody
Rex
that's
Ryan fits that bill.
He does. That's what I'm saying. Like you need somebody that's really like one of them one like a dog. Like yo, bro, you're not about to y'all bugging out. So I think those two guys are up there.
So he has a tattoo. It's a person and the number 6 in a Jets jersey. So Mark Sanchez, but not like actually Mark Sanchez's face. I would be pretty surprised if they signed Rex, just because I know how in tune Woody is with the media and social media specifically, and I feel like the Jets would just get clowned if they hired Rex. And on the other side, I was talking to Joel about this. I like the idea of Rex being the head coach again. What I'm terrified of is the coaching staff he builds out. He has not been in the league in 10 plus years at this point. Who's the offensive coordinator? Who's the defensive coordinator? Who are you bringing in to be all these coaches? Like, that's the one thing I don't know what he would do. My pick's Aaron Glenn, former New York Jet, a hard ass type dude, defensive guy. I think no bullshit type of guy. It is a bit surprising, or would surprise me a bit, to go back-to-back defensive guys, but I just don't think the offensive guys this season are realistic. I don't think Ben Johnson's coming. I don't think guys like Liam Combs is really a realistic option for this team. I think they need a little bit more solidified, even though Aaron Glenn, of course, hasn't been a head coach himself. And Mike Vrabel, I think, is going to go somewhere else.
I think that's great. I would love Aaron Glenn. Next name up, Chicago Bears.
I actually have Mike McCarthy going to the Chicago Bears. You go and you get an offensive guy in there, come help better the situation that is the Chicago Bears offense. You need Caleb Williams to have a veteran type presence there as well. Hopefully he gets an OC that could definitely benefit him also in that regard.
The Dallas Cowboys just denied permission.
Denied? Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, because when I was doing my homework on this, that was still a possibility, because they said they requested, but they haven't answered whether or not they would be.
It wouldn't have been a bad move.
And honestly, I really would have liked, because again, whether it's fact or whether you guys believe that is fact or fiction, Dak did have some of his best years with Mike McCarthy. And I feel like a young quarterback in Caleb Williams could have used a strong presence like that in Mike. But hey, if that's the case, I'll get back to the workshop. But I'm sure the other name that people are thinking is going to be Ben Johnson. The only reason I don't see it happening is because I don't see Ben going to the division rival.
I'm with you.
I believe Ben respects the organization, really loves the Detroit Lions. He is the best head coaching candidate out there, him and Mike Vrabel, but I would give Ben Johnson the nod there. I think Ben's going to another destination that is not going to be in the same division, that won't be in the same conference. He respects the Lions too much to go to Chicago. So I'll get back to you with a name for Chicago that isn't Mike McCarthy.
Chicago, I have getting a name that we heard maybe a few weeks ago, but haven't heard much since. Pete Carroll. Last season, they were close to, maybe not close, but they didn't hire Jim Harbaugh, even though Jim expressed interest in it. And I think they look at that as, a guy that's won on different levels, college and pro, a guy who's a veteran, who's going to be able to bring some sort of leadership to this team that they haven't had in a long time. And I'm with Drew when it comes to Ben Johnson. I think Ben makes the most sense in terms of just blank slate. You have Caleb Williams and all of this talent here. Ben Johnson is the best spot for you, but I do think his ties with Detroit do run deep. I think him and Aaron Glenn do not anticipate them going in division. So I have Pete Carroll coming out of retirement. Did he retire or just stepping away from a year?
Little leave.
Going to Chicago.
Kind of fucked to have Mike McCarthy.
It was a bummer. It's crazy that it
It
broke
broke
right
30
now.
minutes ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It made sense. Honestly,
new too, yeah.
You need somebody. I feel like with Chicago, you kind of need somebody who's a little bit of a veteran, but that has a little bit of success with a quarterback that can reach the highest levels. And I think Dak has reached maybe not the highest level, but definitely a close to that. You know what I'm
he
saying?
was so good
Yeah,
last
he
year.
was really good. And I think I think he can unlock Caleb to a degree. I think he can unlock Rome and them boys to a degree. He can definitely bring some competence of offense to that team. But 30 minutes ago got denied. So here we are.
I don't mind Liam Cohen there. I need an offensive mind in Chicago. I
think
really
you need
don't
that.
care.
That makes sense because I think the Bears fans are just traumatized by these defensive coaches or these offensive coaches not panning out like Matt Nagy when he came from the Chiefs. This is a tough destination for me. They have said that they wanted a leader of men. So I thought about Brian Flores. But what he did with Tua and the offensive staff that he built out there would have me traumatized. I don't think I could do it. I think Ben Johnson should be very interested in his job. A young quarterback who's talented, so much cap space. This team can be very good in a short amount of time if they make the right moves. And I think Ben Johnson working with Caleb Williams, that would be a great head coach and quarterback duo. And it might have the highest ceiling of any one of them in the division.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think it would be a movie.
I just don't
I
think
think
he'd do it.
I don't think that's who Ben Johnson is.
What are your thoughts on Ben Johnson as a head coach, not as a offensive play caller? How do you guys think Ben Johnson, the head coach, will be?
It's always the same. I feel like it's always the same risk from an OC going to a head coaching spot because with OC, you're kind of just focused on the offense. It's now you're a head coach. You're dealing with player emotions. You're dealing with offense and defense. You're dealing with guys from up top now. It's like everything included. So I don't know. Like I think it's definitely a different challenge. And Chicago is a headache in itself. So, I say this all the time. It can either destroy you or turn you into one of the goats.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's one of those moves that if it doesn't pan out, I don't think anybody can get mad about it. Like from a
everybody wants
process perspective. Like 2 years from now, if they hire Ben Johnson, he gets fired, they're beginning to say, oh, the Bears should have never done that. Yeah, in hindsight, but in the moment, that is the best head coaching candidate on the market.
Yep.
Quick aside, LeBron James did a switcheroo in traffic to start the game. He's 40 years old. When you watch the play, you're going to lose your mind.
Incredible.
Incredible.
In traffic.
Were y'all playing?
The Mavericks.
Why are you playing so early?
Yeah,
We're in
it's early.
Dallas.
Even still, it's early.
7:51.
I felt
It's
like
a
it
7:30
was
start for
6,
Dallas.
I'll be honest.
Bro, he gets the pass. He goes into the lane. The bodies jump. He goes mid-air switches. Oh, my
I
God.
can picture it now.
No, I'm with you. I know.
I could envision
Yes.
the video playing.
Yes.
I truly didn't care.
I'm probably
sorry.
going to give it
Such
a
a
like
dickhead.
later.
That's okay.
I mean, bro, he's the GOAT.
I agree. I'm just sorry. It didn't bother. Like,
What if it was Steph?
It's 6'3".
Bro, it's
Switch it
LeBron.
around. Like, I really it just didn't like.
You don't care about LeBron?
What moves you more, that or Cam Reddish making the layup?
You just like irrelevancy.
Neither, honestly. Like in the moment, like nothing. Like
Okay, next team up, the New England Patriots.
I'll be honest with you. I know that Mike Vrabel is like the heavy favorite to go to the Patriots. This is where I want Ben Johnson to go.
Okay.
I want Ben Johnson to go and work with Drake May. I want him to have the number 4 overall pick. This is legitimately the best situation.
I want Ben in another place we're gonna talk about. I think that place is really
That's where I have him going.
gonna be a movie.
But the coach I have is Mike Vrabel.
Oh, okay.
I think the place that makes the most sense for Ben Johnson is New England. You get your quarterback. You have a guy that we can build a future with, and we have the number 4 overall pick. We have a ton of money to spend this offseason. It really does not get more free range than this for him.
I'm going with Mike Vrabel too. That's my pick for the Patriots.
You have Mike Vrabel going here.
Mike Vrabel, he has ties with the organization.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
a former player. I think it makes sense.
Really?
Yeah.
I also have Vrabel going here.
So I'm the only guy that had.
Who do you
Vrabel
have?
going to. Didn't have anybody for the Patriots.
Oh,
be
just
Oh, so you didn't
no
do your
head
job.
coach.
No, I have every other team. I just forgot.
Oh,
the Patriots.
interesting.
Yeah, Vrabel. It makes the most sense. I do wonder if the Jets what do they call? He interviewed with the Jets last week, using as like a power play to New England to fire Gerard Mayo. That's kind of what's been thrown out there. Like Gerard Mayo was 50-50.
That's diabolical.
I know, which is crazy.
Diabolical people in this world, man.
Yeah, but I think Robert Kraft, he loves New England ways. Vrabel's got the roots there. They wanted to be Gerard Mayo, former player, didn't work out. Now we'll try Vrabel, who's already succeeded. I think it fits too easy.
I still hate the way that Gerard Mayo situation went out. Like, he won the game. You didn't give him 30 minutes.
I would definitely would have
That
waited
sucks.
at least till he got home. You know what I mean? Like,
I
he
would
was
have waited the
in
next
the
morning.
locker
Like
room.
next morning,
Yeah.
yeah, bro, you're fine.
Like,
Because it's always weird when you go to the press conference. Like Antonio Pierce, the same thing happened. He's like, "Well, I haven't heard anything," and it's like, "What are we doing?"
it's also
if you don't know, then
Yeah,
what
fact.
the fuck, like.
It's also a bad look that they won and they fired him. It's also like if you have someone that doesn't really care and be like, oh, they were competing for the number 1 overall pick. They won. Now we fired him. It's like, what were we trying to do, actually?
I think it's unfortunate how the situation panned out, and we got to remember that these dudes are humans. You know, he just won a game and then he gets fired.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of bullshit, and I think that it's impulsive because after Bill Belichick was gonna be gone after last year, they kind of promised Gerard Mayo
The
to
keys.
get the job, to be the successor. And even though I didn't agree with his coaching or what he should have done, it feels like they kind of knew in the back of their minds they just wanted this to be 1 year and then gone and then hire their actual candidate. And it didn't really matter what he did this year. He would have had to do like the impossible, like win 6-7 games with this roster to keep his job. And I think that's a little bit unfair to him.
Shadir looks ashy in that picture.
I think it's a Photoshop, so.
Well, they're all photoshops, but,
Yeah.
Oh, JT, what up, twin?
but it's just like Shadir looks really ashy in that picture. John.
Okay, so next team up, not New England, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now this
Correct.
moves the shit out of me. Ben Johnson right here. Listen, Trevor Lawrence is better than Jared Goff. I firmly believe that. I truly believe that in all my hearts. I
Wait,
think
how could you say that? Jared Goff is number 2 in touchdowns,
Yeah,
3 in yards.
He's all that cute stuff.
This Jared Goff disrespect, I don't know if I like it.
I just know comments.
He made a comment, but you went excessive on it.
I knew
Is Jared Goff this bad? How you're trying to depict him? Some would argue, look at the stats, and Jared Goff is better than Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think you have to look too hard.
No, you don't.
Now, Trevor, I really feel like Ben can unlock this Trevor Lawrence BTJ vibe that we got going on. It feels like a movie. It feels like cinema. It feels like Dune 2. Like, it feels like a lot of shit like that. Like, it really feels amazing. I think this is the spot he should go to. First of all, you're in the AFC South. You really only have CJ Stroud to worry about. And looking over there, they look like trouble. No, they look like they're in trouble with their situation. And I get it. You know, you got Mahomes, you got Allen, you got all the 5. You got the 5 demons over there in the AFC. But you have a potential demon that you can unlock in Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget this guy has all the tools. He has the size, the physical attributes, the athleticism, the talent. It's everything. 6'6", can move, can throw the ball. The talent is there. So you have somebody that you can really unlock. You have a brewing top 5, top 7 receiver in football in B2J. Of course, you got a lot of things to work on with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that offense, it wasn't terrible this year to end the year. So you got some pieces. I think Ben Johnson, if you want to go somewhere to build your legacy, I think him and Trevor could be really amazing. And I think this should be the automatic spot for him.
This is where I have Ben Johnson going to as well. Understanding that you get Trevor Lawrence, I still believe he is as talented as he was propped up to be when he first came out. Understanding that BTJ is one of the more talented young receivers in this league. The offensive line needs work. They need better play calling. I'm sure Ben Johnson will add that layer to them that will make them extremely dynamic. But you still have a high draft pick. I don't have the remote. You still have a high draft pick. You still will have a decent amount of money to make things work. It would be a great destination for him, especially to have a great connection with a young QB.
I also have Ben Johnson going here. The caveat being, a couple of days ago when Omar Khan and Trent Baalke, the GM and owner of the Jaguars, were on a Zoom interview, and someone asked the owner Khan, you know, if a potential head coach came in to interview and said he wants to look at the front office and ways to improve it or potentially change it, would you be open to that? And the owner, with the GM sitting there right next to him on the Zoom call, said, yeah, we look open to anything. We would be open to changing anything, which is insane. With that being said, Ben Johnson goes in there and says, fire Trent Baalke, I want to run the show, or bring in somebody we could kind of partner this thing. I think that's the way Ben Johnson gets there, because I think he is such a hot commodity that if he wants control over the roster, if he wants to say in the draft and free agency, he's going to get it. Because if not, he'll just go back to Detroit. They'll have a top 5 offense again. And then next season, he'll go to another place that has a budding superstar quarterback.
Just need one more year.
He really has all the cards in his hands right now, Ben Johnson.
Just give me one more year.
He could handpick any job that he wants. Yeah, you need it. They
Just one more.
It's a close call this year, but it was great.
Nobody ever envisioned be the Vikings, so I
know. That's the craziest part.
I wasn't
about
stressing. I picked the Lions. Was as easy as it could be.
It's one pride. I mean, he got to.
You don't know shit.
Yeah, he got to. It's one pride, baby. You know, you just said Trevor Lawrence is better than Jared Goff.
I feel fine with that.
You feel fine with that too?
It's tough to say.
Right now, if you were to
Right
pick
now.
between Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence,
Blank slate.
Blank situation.
Trevor. Blank slate, Trevor.
to lead your team to wins.
I also
Trevor.
primarily said that because Jared Goff fans are just like that.
I think Jared Goff is really good.
I
I
do
also
too.
think he's in a perfect situation.
I do too.
Like, if Jared Goff's in Jacksonville, that shit's ugly.
We saw him in a bad situation. They won 5
The
games.
hoodie vibe this episode.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's
My
cold.
neck
It
is
just
cold
got
as
chilly,
shit.
yeah.
the heater is coming on right
No,
now.
like my neck in my head is cold.
No, Ben Johnson, I think, would be a great destination for the Jaguars. It's alarming that Trent Baalke still has a job. I have them getting Liam Cohen, the second best offensive mind in the
They
cycle.
drafted BTJ.
I think.
Oh, because you have Ben going to the Bears.
Yes, I have Ben Johnson goes to the Bears. I think Liam Cohen goes to the Jaguars.
I have Liam Cohen going to this next team we're about to talk about.
The New Orleans Saints.
Oh, I don't have him going there.
That's where I have Liam Cohen going. I got him going to the Saints.
I have Aaron Glenn going here.
Honestly, the Saints, to me, are probably the worst position out of everybody. The cap situation is just utter fucking hell. It's been hell forever. It still continues to be hell. You have a pretty aging roster. You have a quarterback that you're paying a lot of money to that you probably don't want to pay a lot of money to. So I feel like out of all of the coaching
Derek
prospects, yes, even though he had a fine season, but still,
You don't
this
like
is
saying
a rebuilding
You
team that
don't
is
like
paying a
saying
quarterback.
that. You don't like saying that.
So I do think they're kind of the last of the litter to pick. Like, I think Aaron Glenn's a top 3 candidate. So, like, even though the Jets are a mess, everything, I think they're a better situation than the Saints. The Bears are a better situation.
know.
Patriots are a better situation.
I also have Aaron Glenn here, but I feel like anybody that goes here is gonna die. No, Jesus.
Where
Christ.
to who?
To the
Their
Saints.
football coaching.
Yeah,
It's
to
tough
the
to
football
envision.
coaching vibe here.
It's tough to envision a coach succeeding with the Saints
It's
based
just
on
a
the
shit
cap
show
space
right now.
issue. Yeah.
Cap space. There's
And
not
that-
much young talent. Chris Olave, love him to death.
He's had, like, 5 concussions.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
concerning,
bad,
yeah.
bro.
Healthy kid.
Derek Carr's really old. Like Cameron Jordan, them boys, they're getting old. Like it's
a
old,
rebuild.
Yeah, it really is, and it's tough because you don't have a quarterback. You don't have anything fresh to really grab on and say this is something I can build off of.
I'm between Joe Brady, Aaron Glenn. I say I lean Joe Brady for the idea that I think Aaron Glenn will try to go to a better situation than the Saints. If you're going to the Saints, you believe in yourself.
You think Joe Brady's leaving?
If he has a head
I think
coaching
the only reason is he
opportunity,
used to coach in New Orleans. So, like, if he just has ties there, that's the only way I see it.
Joe
really.
Brady has some ties to the Saints too. He worked on Sean Payton's staff and he coached in
LSU,
Louisiana
yeah.
at LSU. So he has some ties there. I have Aaron Glenn here. Who was your pick again, Dels?
Liam Cohen.
Liam Cohen. Okay. Las Vegas Raiders.
This is where I have Liam Cohen.
This is also where I have Liam Cohen.
I think this is realistic, and I think it's best available for the Raiders, given their situation. They have some pretty exciting young talent on this offense. Solid, decent offensive line. Understand that Brock Bowers is argued to be the best tight end in football. You have Jacoby Myers, who's a very respectable wide receiver. I'd look at him as a wide receiver too, but understanding that he's talented. He has some great skills to him. Pretty speedy guy, solid route runner, decent hands. He's a pretty good player. Trey Tucker, you have a pretty valuable first-round pick as well, number 6 overall. You can really improve that defensive line if you want to. If you want to go and get a receiver complimentary to Jacoby, you go and you bring in Tet McMillan. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Maybe a Luther Burden. I think Tet fits the scheme a little bit better just as opposite side of Jacoby. You get that tall type receiver as opposed to the complimentary Jacoby speed, a little bit more route running, a little bit more technical. I think Liam Cohen in this situation, you have that high draft pick. You won't have your quarterback immediately. It'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason, who they will be bringing in to play quarterback. If I'm Sam Darnold and the Raiders are willing to overpay, This isn't a terrible situation, in my opinion. Understanding Brock's a great option. We've seen what Jacoby can do with pretty bad quarterback play. You have a pretty high draft pick. And with Liam Cohen, we saw him be successful with Baker Mayfield. I think he can be successful with Sam Darnold, too.
I have Brian Flores going here. He just fits Raiders culture. They have some defensive pieces.
I like that.
I don't hate that at all, actually.
And you got to compete with some great offenses in the AFC West. Mahomes and the Chiefs, Herbert and the Chargers, Sean Payne, Bo Nix, they're going to keep building on what they're doing. So I look at any coach here, like a lot of offensive coaches might be scared off, like, yo, if I'm going up against these dudes, who's my quarterback? How are we going to compete with them? I feel like you have a better shot competing defensively with them and building up that talent. But I'm going to be honest, like I really don't see any current coordinator wanting this job. You have to compete with the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos.
And you also have an owner who has gone through the most coaches since 2000. I think they've been through 14 head coaches.
I think if Brian leaves, he stays in the NFC.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if none of these top candidates go here and it's some obscure person.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised
Brian
if it's like
Grease.
a Lovie Smith situation with when the Texans hired him for like 1 year.
It's a tough situation.
Like, this is this bad of a situation right now.
I also have Brian Flores going here, but I agree. I think really, like, I do think Brian Flores has options. Like, to me, he has options. I just don't know in the NFL with the lawsuit and all the shit that went on. Just, I don't know, like, realistically, like, is every team gonna be interviewing hhim? Like, do certain owners feel certain ways because they're boys with the Dolphins owner? Like, I just don't know, like, realistically how many options he does have. But I have him going to the Raiders because, number one, I do think he is a good option. Like, he's shown to be an awesome defensive coordinator.
Yep.
As a head coach, he's had some deficiencies, especially in terms of, relating to quarterbacks, building an offense, everything like that. But you got to hope that he's been able to grow since then. And he's been with Kevin O'Connell for the last 2 years, who is one of the best offensive-minded guys in the game. So you hope he learns some things from him.
You got Brian Flores on the Raiders too?
He said Liam
No,
Cohen.
I'm
Liam
Liam.
Cohen.
I don't think Brian, if he does leave, I don't think he'll leave for something like that. I think he'll wait for a much better destination. I can even see him honestly going to the Saints and trying to rebuild something like that in the NFC South, the division where he can probably build his team up and own it for some time.
Yeah.
But I do think if a team opens up, like maybe even Dallas, would be something that would be dope. But I think like that would be something like, I think that's when he starts to wake up and move away.
He was on Derek Lively. He's 40.